Hello everyone, and welcome back to another exciting episode. Today is December 15, 2025, Monday. I am your host, Ichino-ani, and I am so happy to have you all here in our digital classroom. You know, I usually talk like an elementary school teacher, but today we are going to learn about something very smart. Something that makes computers think even better. So, let's open our textbooks, or rather, let's look at the trending article from the archive. The title of today's paper is Stronger Normalization-Free Transformers. The curl is Bosiv, or bulb pulse 12.10,938. It is a bit of a mouthful, but don't worry, I will explain it so it is as easy as ABC. Let me start with the question. Have you ever tried to organize a messy room? If you have toys, books, and clothes all over the floor, it is hard to walk, isn't it? In the world of artificial intelligence, specifically deep learning, data moves through the brain of the computer like water in pipes. Sometimes, this data gets messy and loud, like a room full of toys. To fix this, scientists have used something called normalization layers. Think of these layers as a strict teacher who says, "Everyone quiet down and stand in a straight line." This helps the AI learn without getting confused. However, there's a problem. Calculating the average height of everyone in the line and making sure everyone is standing perfectly takes a lot of time and effort. The computer has to pause and do math on the whole group, which we call a batch. This paper asks a very brave question. What if we fire the strict teacher? What if, instead of forcing everyone to stand in a line, you just give each student a simple rule to follow on their own? This is where this amazing paper comes in. The authors, Mingzhi Chen and his friends from Princeton University, and Carnegie Mellon University, have invented a new tool. They call it Derf. It sounds like a funny name, right? Derf stands for dynamic erf. Now, erf is a math term for the error function. It is a beautiful shaped curve. Imagine a slide on a playground that starts flat, goes down steeply, and then flattens out again. So, what is the problem this paper is solving? Well, traditional normalization is heavy. It relies on statistics. Needs to know what everyone else is doing. Derf is a pointwise function. That means it looks at just one piece of data at a time and transforms it using a simple curve. It is like telling each student, just calm down a little bit, without needing to measure the whole class. This makes the system simpler and, as it turns out, much stronger. The authors did a lot of homework to find the perfect curve. They found 4 magic rules that a function needs to work well. First, it must be zeroed and entered. That means it stays close to the middle, not too high or too low. Second, it must be bounded. It cannot go on forever to infinity. It needs limits. Third, it needs center sensitivity. This means it needs to be very sensitive to small changes near zero. And fourth, it must be monotony. That is a big word. It just means the curve should always go up, always go down, never wiggling back and forth. Now, you might be asking, Ichino-ani, why does this matter to me? How does this change my life? Well, I'm glad you asked. Let me give you 3 specific examples of how this technology, using things like Derf, can help us every day. First, let's talk about recommendation systems. When you are shopping on an Ichino-ani site, or watching videos on a streaming site, the computer suggests things like, you might like this pair of shoes, or you should watch this cartoon next. Right, to do this, the AI has to process millions of user preferences instantly. If you use Derf instead of heavy normalization, these systems can become more efficient. The paper shows that Derf helps the AI generalize better, where it means it does not just memorize what you bought yesterday, but it truly understands your taste. So, you get better movie suggestions and cooler toy recommendations. Second, let's look at image recognition. This is used in so many places. For example, automatic photo classification on your phone. When you search for dog in your photo album, and it finds all the pictures of your puppy. Or think about medical image diagnosis support. Doctors use AI to look at x-rays or MRI scans to find some messes early. A paper shows that Derf works amazing for vision transformers. It beat the old methods on the ManageNet test, getting 82.8% accuracy. This means the AI is sharper and makes fewer mistakes when looking at pictures. Third, and this is a very cool one, autonomous driving technology. Self-driving cars need to see the world and make decisions fast. They need object recognition and situational judgment. Is that a red light? Is that a child crossing the street? Because Derf is a simple function that does not need to calculate group averages. It is very robust. The paper even tested it on DNA sequence modeling, which is like reading the code of life, and it worked better there too. So, whether it is driving a car or understanding biology, this simple curve is making AI smarter. I want to share one really interesting secret from the paper. Usually, we think that if an AI has a low score on its practice test, which we call training loss, it is doing a good job. But guess what? Derf actually had a higher training loss than the old methods. Wait, what? That sounds bad, right? But on the final exam, which we call the validation set, Derf got a better score. This is what teachers call generalization. The old methods were just memorizing the answers to the practice test. But Derf was actually learning the concepts. It is like understanding how to do math, instead of just memorizing the multiplication table. That is why it is so powerful. So, to wrap up our lesson for today, we learned about a new paper called Stronger Normalization-Free Transformers. We learned that we can replace complex normalization layers with a simple, elegant curve called Derf. It is based on the error function. It follows 4 golden rules. It helps us with shopping recommendations, medical images, and even self-driving cars. And it teaches us that sometimes doing a little less on practice means you are learning better for the real world. I hope you found this interesting. It is amazing how a simple math curve can change the future of technology. Thank you for listening to my class today. This was Ichino-ani, signing off. See you next time.